New tool in the shop alert. That is right, there is a new tool in this little itty bitty, well, it's not a one-car garage, so I can't say it's a itty bitty shop, but I am losing room fast. So, what is this tool, you ask? Well, it is a drum sander. This one that's like over there. I was gonna do like an assembly video, but there's not really much as far as assembly. I can give you an overview. The biggest problem I'm gonna have is getting that unit onto that stand with just me and nothing overhead. So there's no chain fall or anything. And I'm not going into the attic to grab my engine hoist to put it together to put that on. If anything, I'll just wait till my neighbor comes home and he can help me. But I digress. Yeah, I needed a drum sander. Sanding the cutting boards, so boards that somewhat look like this, like end grain. I'm finding that as soon as I sand with the orbital and trying to get some of these marks out and stuff like that is harder than I anticipated. And keeping it flat was harder than I anticipated, trying to get the router marks out of the flattening process. So I dropped a little bit of cash and I got that drum sander. It is a CX509N. So it's Crafx, and you can pretty much get that. There's a company that we have in Canada, it's called Busy Bee Tools, and that's where I got it. This is not sponsored by anything. This whole video is sponsored by me. Nobody wants a sponsor, so whatever, I'll sponsor myself. I don't care. So yeah, this is my own money. This is to speed up the process. I'm gonna start, like once I get it flat, I'm gonna get through the process and a couple grits, change pads, stuff like that. So a quick little overview of this is this. So it's an 18-inch. It is the conveyors, I think only an 1/8. It's sandpaper conveyor. So it's not like the squishy stuff. So it'll grip. The only problem that I found when I took this up out of the box is that it's already been used. Somebody already used this. Not a lot. I can't really tell, it's not a lot of use, but literally somebody used it. Alright, so 18-inch, it's a 1.5 horse motor for the drum. It is an 1/8. Is it an 1/8? So height of this is 4.5 inches, and one of the reasons is the height. I can go 4.5 inches in height. The second reason is the table moves up and down, not the head. There's a lot of drum sanders like I was going to go with Supermax, but the Supermax was only a 3-inch height, and this moves, and I would rather have the table move up and down and have this nice and solid and stationary than have something where the head might kind of tip on you. So with an open end sander, 18 inches translates to 36 inches when you flip the board around. Assembly process was pretty straightforward. You had one picture. So these are somewhat the instructions. You had a picture to kind of go off of, and then there's not much else as far as, like, there's nothing to really put this thing together other than the conveyor if it tracks the wrong way. So an overview of this parts, this is pretty self-explanatory if you look at it. Just carriage bolts, pieces go together. The stand was separate. I had to buy that separate, and the instructions for that are really basic, one picture, and that's it. So you just get it to fit, and it's one of those mobile stands where the wheels go up and down, move it around. So yeah. So like I said, hold on. My one process on all this is going to be getting the unit onto the stand. And on the inside, like there's mounting holes on top of the stand right here. They are, so on the unit itself, I kind of tipped it up and took a look. It's just a lip. So you got to get it from underneath to get it on and tie it down. So yeah, once I get it on, I can kind of play with it and see how it runs and see if it tracks, because it's a big ordeal to get, if that belt is not tracking right and it's gonna like fall off sort of deal, there's a big deal to get it to come back and track right. So I'm praying that it's good from the factory, because there's a whole like 3 pages in that thing discussing that. So the only other thing that goes together on this is the wheel. So you got this height wheel, you got 1 screw, goes like that, it goes in, screws, you're done. It came with a bunch of screws, so it came with the stand. It didn't come with the roller stand, but it came with the stand. All the carriage bolts. Came with this little dinky wrench. These are your 4 mounting it from unit to stand, and then it came with a couple Allen keys. That's about it. So I'm going to, once I get it on the stand, I'm going to kind of go over it a little more in depth. So, all right. So after a lot of grunting and pushing, and it's finally on the stand. Now, this unit without the stand weighs 90 kilos. So that's close to 200 pounds. So to do it by yourself is not recommended. I did a bunch of sketchy crap to get this thing on the stand. I highly suggest you have a buddy, a friend, somebody to help you put this on the stand, because it was a struggle. And yeah, so 200 pounds by yourself, and you can't lift it by the head. So you raise your table and you gotta put your hand under here and or under there. A little sketchy. So, friend to lift this onto stand. Check. Me, did not. Very bad. I'm fine, but not suggested. So, to give you a little overview on this, this is a 2-speed. So you can either do the 3400, which is that's what it's currently set up, or you can take the belt that's on this back. I took the cover off. You take the belt off and you move it to the next pulley, and it'll go 2600, depending on what you're sanding, or if you're seeing burns, or maybe your feed rate's too slow, or whatever. So I'm gonna put this cover back on, and I'm gonna show you more. All right, cover's back on. I cleaned up the drum a little bit. It was used a little bit, which is odd. Now, whether that's from the factory or the box didn't look tampered. Didn't look like it was resealed or anything, so I don't know. It came with an 80 grit paper on it. I bought a couple more refillers, and eventually I'm going to make my own rolls. Just buy a big bulk. It's a 4-inch drum, so 3-inch paper will do it. And it's not the clippy style that you see on like Supermax and stuff like that. This is, it's got an Allen key, so it's got a key that you screw down and it wedges and it holds the paper. So it's a pain in the butt to set up, probably. I've never done it yet. I'll probably shoot a video to show you how to change that, but it probably secures it better than the springy clip things. I don't know. This is my first drum sander, so this is kind of a learning curve, but that's what I'm kind of, this would be harder to install, but in the long run would not come apart, opposed to easier to install with the springies. You get my drift. Like I said, it was 1.5 horse motor. I believe this one's an 8. It runs pretty quiet. No big deal. And then you got variable speed for the belt. I believe it goes from 0 to 12 inches a minute. No, 12 feet, no. It's decent, it's fine. Let's see, what else can I talk about this? It's heavy as sin, so that's good. I'm hoping, like, I did some measurements from here to the bed, and it was pretty bang on, so that's good. It came shipped with plywood in there, so, and it was cranked down just a tad, just to keep it from bouncing and all that stuff. There's not much else to talk about that. I am going to assume it's going to be the same as every other drum sander that's on the market. Oh, that's the other thing. I did test for the tracking, and it tracks perfectly straight, so kudos, because I don't want to go through that. If it does eventually go out of whack or whatnot, or if it's the tension's not enough, it seems like it's pretty good from the factory, so I'm happy with that. But if it needs, I'll probably end up making a video on that. But I'm not touching it. It's good until something happens. That's when I'll make the video. So like every other drum sander, is probably 1/8 of an inch is probably your minimum material that you can use to go through this. Maximum cut is going to be a 64th. I think that's what it said. Yeah, a 64th is the maximum depth of cut. You don't want to get that much. You're going to start getting burn marks and everything else. Just take it easy. It's a drum sander. It's supposed to make your life easier, not harder. Yeah. So reasons for me to get it. Price, it was on sale. Adjustable table instead of the head moving. The capacity, so most of the Supermax are 3-inch as their max capacity. This one's 4.5, and I've seen a couple at 5, so 1/2 inch, whatever. I'm hoping everyone likes it. This is another tool. Behind me right here, right there is my bandsaw. If you want to see that, I can put a link there. So far I like it. The only thing I don't like, and I'll discuss this in a blade sharpening thing, or blade changing, is, so when I change the blade on the bandsaw, which is right here, this is going to be my my ripping bandsaw. Well, not ripping, it's resaw, sorry. My resaw blade, which is carbide, it cost me a couple $100 to get, but I'm hoping once it goes on, it probably doesn't come off for a long time. So I'll shoot a video on that, and then right beside me is an extension wing, cast iron extension wing. I'm going to replace the sheet metal because I want to put a router lift in that, so I can get rid of my router stand and kind of compact this shop a little bit more so I have more room to work. I need to clean it too. That's a definite plus. Organized, clean. That is on my list. So, everyone likes this video, smash it, smash a like, give me a subscribe, leave me a comment. Does anybody have one of these, and do they like it? Do they don't like it? What's the problems? What's not the problems? Stuff like that. So, yeah. So I'm gonna end it right here. Hope everyone's good, and I'll see you next time.